I've been trying to tell y'all Brett Clayton's coming to rob your bank.
Listen up, shut up!
And I came to put a bullet in him.
Wait! Before we get started in this Western that's in the theaters right now, please do me a favor. Hit that subscribe button right at the bottom. This is the spiritual successor to 2009's Black Dynamite! And it stars Michael Jai White, and it is co-written and directed by Michael Jai White. This follows an outlaw called Johnny Black, where he is vowed to get revenge on the person who killed his daddy. This is different than Black Dynamite. This movie was done at least 4 years ago in the can, but of course pandemic happened, and then the writer's strike and the actor strike that's going on now really pushed that back. But when I saw some of the footage before, it did look kind of slapsticky and stuff. Don't go in here thinking that this is the same type of film as Black Dynamite. This film is a love letter to Westerns.
I find it easier to talk about what this is not. This, surprisingly, is not really a spoof, right? Black Dynamite was like a big spoof, big send-up. The whole premise of the movie was to jab at these blaxploitation films. This movie has no interest in any of that. It is not trying to jab at Westerns. It is actually, like you said, a love letter to Westerns. It's much more loving towards Westerns. It's much more straightforward. Like where Black Dynamite was a movie about a movie, this is a movie about Johnny Black. Okay, this is not a movie about a movie. But I don't think this is a bad thing at all. If anything, it probably shows a maturing of Michael Jai White's palette towards films. Like you said, this is a movie about the outlaw Johnny Black, where he starts the movie completely fueled by revenge, right? He wakes up and goes to sleep every day thinking about murdering the man who killed his father. There's a point where he's on the run and he runs into a preacher. And his father was also a preacher, but when the preacher apparently appears to get killed by these Native American people, Johnny Black takes the preacher's outfit, wears it, and goes into this town to hide. And as a preacher, people start to ask him things about the Bible and how to live your life. And obviously, this is not the guy to ask, for a recommendation on how to live your life. I thought this movie would be much more about him getting revenge. Surprisingly, they got pushed to the B plot.
Yep.
The A plot became, can Johnny Black move beyond just vengeance? Is there more to him? Can he find something else worthwhile in his life? And I gotta say, I wasn't expecting that to be the storyline. I expected this to be a big funny send up, spoof, laugh a minute type thing, but instead it is a lot more serious and a lot more straightforward and a lot more mature. The movie's about the redemption of the outlaw Johnny Black.
Yes, and I thought that was done pretty well. And now how he's able to get his redemption is through helping this town. The land is worth a lot because there's oil on this land. Now there is a rich white dude that's trying to buy this land, but there is a nice lady by the name of Jessie Lee, and she ain't gonna let it happen. Michael Jai White, first he wants to run away from the responsibility, but then he's like, I can't do it.
First he just stays to hide. He's like, I'm just gonna stay here till tomorrow, then I'm out of here. But then he's like, you know what, maybe I should stick to Monday, because now I've got the key to all the money in the vault for the church, right? So I'm gonna stick here till Monday so I can rob the church, But as the movie goes on, he realizes not that, robbing churches is bad, but that there are just other things to life. There's more, it's more to life. There's more things to do. There are people here that he actually likes. And of course he learns the lessons that his father was trying to teach him. Because his father's lesson was all about forgiveness. Sure, can you kill the guy who killed your father? Of course, he's Johnny Black. He's the shit. But can you forgive him? That is the harder part, right? I was also surprised by how much religion was in this film. It's not just superficial. It's like baked into the plot. This idea of this Christian idea of forgiveness.
Yes, because there's a lot of scriptures in this. What I like about this film, a lot of the people that was from Black Dynamite is in this film because O'Leary, the guy who was in the other film that was his sergeant, he's the marshal. Honeybee, which is Kim Whitley, she is one of the ladies in the church.
Right.
Cream Corn, which is he's a guy who's in this too. The dude who was drinking all the anaconda malt liquor, he was in it. Everybody, a lot of good people was in here. Bullhorn, the guy, he's the actual preacher in this film. There was a running joke in this that I liked. It was like, yeah, the wanted picture looks just like him.
It looks nothing like him. It's like a black dude singing. He's like, oh, it looks nothing like him.
So stupid.
Yeah. So I don't want you to get me wrong. This is still very much a comedy. It's just not the comedy that you would think it would be after having watched Black Dynamite.
Yes. While all this is happening, the preacher did not die. The original preacher, played by the guy who plays Bullhorn, Brian Mins, I think that's his name. He was shot with an arrow.
He kept his Bible right here, and the Bible, saved him. Again, continuing these religious themes. So with this movie, the Native Americans were kind of odd because this is where the movie does dip into spoof territory, right? Where the Native American people are very purposefully played by all non-Native American actors, right? There's one predominantly white guy who's sitting there with these big blue eyes,
and he's like folding his arms the whole time,
and he's dressed stereotypically like a Native American person, So I felt like
he got his costume from Party City.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like a Party City outfit, right? And it seemed to be purposefully bad, right? So I feel like only the Native American group was in Black Dynamite mode, where they're like making fun of the genre. But everyone else was not. So I felt like that whole side plot fell out of place to me. And if they'd cut at least most of that down, I think the movie would have tonally been a little bit more consistent.
Gary Anthony Williams, you may know him as Uncle Rocker's no relation from Boondocks, and Smart Brother from Undercover Brother. He played the mayor in this, and Tony Baker played the sheriff in this. And they were like the two henchmen of the white dude who was trying to buy this land. Oh, not buy, steal this land.
Right. They were essentially like traitors, They told everybody they were working for the town, but really they were working for the person who was trying to steal the town. I'll be honest, I thought The Harder They Fall was probably more entertaining than this. Mostly because The Harder They Fall was trying to make some sort of commentary on cowboy films and westerns and stuff like that. Where this film wasn't trying to really make any commentary on it. It was just trying to say like, isn't this cool? Like it was just like a love letter, I found The Harder They Fall to be a lot more biting with its commentary towards the western. With that being said, I still liked this movie quite a bit. I thought the movie was shot really well.
Michael Jai White did a great job.
Yeah, I think it was written really well. But my issue was there was a point in the film where I was like, I think this is a really, really good film. And that was about halfway through. And I thought if this movie can wrap this up nicely, we will be in a really good place. But unfortunately, the movie is too long. This movie is probably, was it 2.5 hours or something like that?
2 hours and 13 minutes.
It is too long. As I've said before, sometimes you can have too much of a good thing, right? And because it's so long, like I said, the parts with the Native Americans, tonally, it doesn't fit in with the rest of the movie. The thing that really propels this film is, can Johnny Black hide in this town? Can he keep his real identity undercover, right? And once the cat's out the bag for that, right? Once everybody knows who it is, I feel like the movie needs to hurry up and get to its conclusion. But instead, there was almost another 45 minutes after that, where Jessie Lee gets tied up and she gets kidnapped, and there's this whole thing going on. A lot of the humor falls out too, right? I feel like the movie really changed gears. And it became much more straightforward. If they could just have cut this movie down, we would have something so much better.
A smooth hour and 45 minutes would have just been perfect.
And again, it feels obvious to me, obviously it's someone who didn't make them film, right? It feels obvious to me what needs to be cut. There's a point where I'm just waiting for the big standoff with him and his father's killer. And I'm just like, when is he going to show up? Where is he? Because as soon as he comes up, then this movie can end.
There was a lot of stuff they could have did to shorten this thing down. I think that is a killer of the film.
Totally. The theme of the film was forgiveness, right? So we knew that in order for Johnny Black to complete his arc, he had to forgive his killer, right? But movies aren't structured that way. They're structured for him and his father's killer to have a big showdown at the end, right? If he's supposed to finish his arc, he's supposed to say, I'm not going to kill you, right? I forgive you. There's not going to be a fight here. And then the movie should end. But I could tell that Michael Jai White knew that was unsatisfactory. So he was like, I forgive you, but I'm gonna kill you anyway. Like, so it was like, it was really contradictory, you know? So I'm like, did he ever learn the lesson? Or
exactly.
I guess
he
not,
said,
right?
Today is justice.
Yeah, exactly. So it was like, you know what? I'm just gonna shoot a hole, boom, right through the theme of the film. And I'm like, what?
Took away all the character development that what he was having.
It was almost the entire point of the film was him trying to learn forgiveness. And so I guess he never learned it.
If you guys go into this film thinking that this is going to be the actual successor of Black Dynamite and it's going to have that type of vibe as Black Dynamite, it is not. We're telling you right now, it is not that.
This is not Black Dynamite 2. You know what I mean?
No.
This is something completely different.
I think Michael Jai White captured that love of Westerns, but it was bogged down by scenes that did not need to be here, dragged on by too long. Should have just been an hour and 45 minutes. So I had to take some points off about that. I'm gonna give this film a B+.
B+, yep. That's actually what I'm gonna give it to, a B+. Which is a shame because I wanted to give this movie an A. But the fact that it essentially abandoned its theme at the end, and that's no good. And it's just too long. If they just cut this thing down, we could have had a much cleaner film. I liked how this did carry on the traditional themes of a Western, right? We talked about this before. Usually Westerns are either about tradition versus technology. That's one theme, or the progression of time is another theme of Westerns. Of course, the most famous, going home, and that's what this movie's about. Going home. He was trying to find his roots with his father and his father's teachings, and whether or not he could actually learn them. Sure, he could remember them, but could he actually learn these things? Learn forgiveness? Could he actually find a place to settle down and no longer be on the run? I liked how it was shot. I liked that this movie had a lot of passion in it. You could tell Michael Jai White and crew just really love films. They love this era of films, right? Like this 1970s, either blaxploitation or Western thing. And again, you can really feel that passion to the film. But like you said, this is not Black Dynamite 2, okay? This isn't that at all. While this is still very funny, the humor has evolved a little bit beyond Black Dynamite.
They didn't give Tommy Davidson a lot of lines in this thing.
No, he really didn't. He walked across the screen like twice and then got shot. And I'm like, oh.
You know? Would you recommend people to see it?
I would recommend you to see this film. I thought this was a lot of fun, and this was a really good send-up to the old 1970s films with some really nice humor. So I would recommend this.
Yes, I would recommend you guys going to see this. It could find its footing on streaming. More importantly, do you recommend this film? Have you seen The Outlaw Johnny Black? Please get in the comments and let us know what you thought of it. Thank you so much for clicking on this video. We really do appreciate you guys. Our subscriber count's going up, up, up. Be a part of it and hit that subscribe button, all right? It's free. It costs you nothing. And if you did like this rating and review of this film, please hit that thumbs up. Or you can hit that thumbs down, whichever you choose. It is your opinion. Just remember one thing, it's mostly wrong. Now it's time for me to dust off my boots, get on this horse, and ride off in the sunset. Like, why are you looking at it?